Today on the Topping Show, RFK Jr. made waves at the Trump rally and gets a role into investigating the increasing chronic health issues in the United States. Trump to release all JFK assassination files if elected. A family in Washington, D.C. loses custody of their child for refusing to transition him. The U.S. accuses RealPage in assisting landlords in price collusion. Krispy Kreme's adds Dr. Pepper flavor to their menu for donuts. And Shein suppliers are busted for child labor. All of that and much more on The Topping Show. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in today. Today's episode of The Topping Show is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. Gotta say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button and tell your friends, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, going over to the business part podcast, you have the U.S. accusing RealPage and assisting landlords in price collusion. Now, this comes to us thanks to ex-EO, specifically April Rubin, who's a writer over there. There you can see the iconic RealPage logo, which, interestingly enough, it's not an actual page from a book or a phone book. It's just 3 dots in the shape of a triangle, which I suppose is unique. It's an interesting choice they went with there. Now, you can see the little phone app there. They say, quote, the Department of Justice filed an antitrust lawsuit against RealPage, a property management software company, for allegedly, quote, unlawful scheme to reduce competition in the apartment rental market and secure a monopoly for itself. They say, quote, why it matters, RealPage uses a trove of data to help some of the country's biggest landlords set apartment rental prices. According to the suit, it's helping them artificially inflate prices for the renters in the country. They say, driving the news, the complaint argues RealPage drives up the rental costs across the board by pulling the rates and lease rates of landlords who should be competing using its algorithm to recommend the rents that they charge. The Attorney Generals of North Carolina, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Minnesota, Oregon, Tennessee, and Washington were also the plaintiffs. They say the plaintiff RealPage has an 80%, again, 80% market share in commercial revenue management software for multifamily units. That, according to the Department of Justice in a statement, they said, quote, in a free market, these landlords would otherwise be competing independently to attract renters based on pricing, discounts, and concessions, lease terms, and other dimensions of apartment leasing. There are mechanisms within the software to encourage landlords to accept the prices recommended by its algorithm, which, quote, tends to maximize price increases, minimize price decreases, and maximize landlords' pricing power, unquote. So these landowner, these property management companies are using software that tells them the price that will give them the most profitable outcome. Not seeing anything unusual thus far. Now, they say that, quote, the other side of the RealPage software was built to be legally compliant. General Bostock, a RealPage spokesperson, said the company has collaborated with the Department of Justice on antitrust matters per Bowick. Bowick says, quote, it's merely a distraction from the fundamental economic and political issues driving the inflation throughout the country, and housing affordability in particular, which should be a focus on policymakers in Washington, D.C. Now, they also say a lawsuit filed last year in D.C. similarly accused of RealPage of being responsible for high rents across the board. Of course, it's not the government's fault, it's this private business's fault for telling landlords the rates, which, I mean, it would be a pain in the rear, but if you're a landlord and you want to do that manually, you could go online to look at all the different rates for sale. You could cold call all the different places around you that are charging rates and see what the rates are going for. With the information we have thus far, it seems as if this software just makes it a hell of a lot easier to aggregate, consolidate all of that data, and then give you a recommendation. And of course, the government, to me, again, my 3 cents, it used to be 2 cents, but 4-year hyperinflation, the government will blame anyone else on the planet except themselves. So I think the only thing that might happen in terms of any changes and again, this right now is not, I mean, having 80% of the market might be the red flags. I mean, but in terms of just raising the prices, the price collusion, you're literally just telling people what the rates are locally and what other similar houses that management companies are charging. I'm a little skeptical to see what the final outcome will be for this, but Yeah, let me know in the comments. And actually, I know this is fascinating because a lot of software is actually the average person might not know because, again, this is a software that's a business-to-business software. They're actually selling this to businesses, not end users. Have you ever heard of RealPage before? Do you think they'll actually win this lawsuit? They'll successfully defend themselves? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Other interesting business news, you have Krispy Kreme adding a Dr. Pepper flavored donut in a move of brilliant marketing. Thanks to Business Wire as well as Yahoo Finance, the original OG search engine from way back in the day, which, funny to think, there was one time where Yahoo was the dominant search engine and no one even heard of Google. Yeah, fascinating times back then. Now, pulling up the article right now so you can see those donuts. These iconic pictures of high fructose corn syrup. They quote, Krispy Kreme and Dr. Pepper team up for the first time to kick off football season with all new donuts. There you can see a little plastic cup of Dr. Pepper you see at the old fast food joints. And yeah, you see, yeah, they're on the sports ball field. And the sports balls, yeah, one looks like a football, one has the field goal thingamajig. And then, I'm not sure what the last thing's supposed to be, confetti, random confetti on the top. But yeah, brilliant marketing. Because again, people love the sports balls and they love Dr. Pepper. I just did a poll on LinkedIn last week. I asked people, I'm refilling the stock fridge for the podcast interview show, and what do you think would be the best flavor? The options were Black Rifle Coffee, Sparkling Liquid Death, and Dr. Pepper. And what was it thus far? With granted, small sample size of about 175 votes, but over 60% of people are saying Dr. Pepper. And I guess it should be too surprising because Dr. Pepper just passed PepsiCo recently as being the #1 beverage. To become the second most purchased beverage out there. So they are going viral, partly thanks to TikTok, and then they have more flavors of Dr. Pepper than you can possibly comprehend. There's another little close-up picture of it. I was gonna say that's a lot of manual labor. They have to have some magical robots doing this for the icing on top of the donuts. Because again, it's much more labor intensive than just the classic, Dunkin' Donuts, or in this case, Krispy Kreme, like a Long John or standard donut would just pour high fructose corn syrup all over the pastry or whatever they call things. I mean, this actually has the shapes of the field goal and the sports ball. So I guess it only has three laces of the football is represented with all that kind of stuff with the frosting. Now, they say, quote, huddle up and hurry. Krispy Kreme is partnering with Dr. Pepper for the first time ever since the kickoff of the football season, beginning Friday, October 3rd, so a little late to this news. For a limited time, Krispy Kreme shops across the U.S. will have donut flavors and football fans alike with joy with their Dr. Pepper Kickoff Collection, featuring an all-new donut that delivers the refreshing experience of iconic 23 flavors of Dr. Pepper, plus a returning Krispy Kreme new favorite. Let's see, you got the new Dr. Pepper Kickoff Donut. Now that's going to be an original glazed donut piped with Dr. Pepper flavored frosting, featuring a burgundy sprinkle blend topped with white chocolate and Dr. Pepper logo. Yes, that's the one in the middle there. Then you're going to have the new Buttercream Goals donut, an original glazed donut dipped in green icing, topped with colorful sprinkles and yellow buttercream flavored goalpost. Then they also have the cream-filled football donut, an unglazed donut filled with white cream, dipped in delicious chocolate icing, and decorated as a football. Now, when asked for comment, the global chief brand officer for Krispy Kreme says, quote, 2 of America's most loved flavors are about to become one amazing game day sensation to make this sweetest kickoff to the football season ever. This Dr. Pepper collection is a must add to your game day lineup, whoever you're cheering for. I still can't believe this. They're actually offering free delivery as well for a couple days. Although, apologies, that's already passed. Whoopsies. Pretty impressive. People love them high fructose corn syrup, and they love the sports balls, and they love Dr. Pepper. Yeah, this probably going to be a brilliant promo. It'll be interesting to see if we see any statistical data in terms of, how many percentage points does this push up the sales overall, and how many people actually spent hard-earned money on all of that. I don't know. Let me know. Would you have bought this if you knew about it? Did you hear about it through the grapevine, and are you a fan? And granted, if it's successful, I'm sure they'll extend this into, have this new promo even further in the future. But maybe in the comments, as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the Culture Prod podcast, you have a Washington, D.C. family have their child taken away for refusing to transition the 16-year-old. Now, this went viral on the X Twitter, and actually, a little late to the game. This article actually came out about a month ago, but it went viral again. Now, first reported on the good old dailymail.com, and this is specifically a writer by the name of Andrew Senior who's a healthcare reporter for dailymail.com. They say, quote, exclusive, Washington, D.C. family lose custody of their autistic son, age 16, after refusing to let him transition to a girl. A military family who lost custody of their autistic son soon after they refused to transition him are now suing the major DC hospital. Good. Sue them into oblivion. Bankrupt them. The family said their boy had never shown any desire of becoming a girl until at age 16, he was hospitalized for self-harm after a bitter breakup with his girlfriend in 2021. Staff at the Children's National Hospital informed the family that he wanted to become female and should be referred to using the she/her pronouns going forward, the suit claims. I don't know what's more horrifying or dangerous for your children these days. On average, hospital systems or public schools. Now, they say, quote, staff at his Army veteran parents from Prince George County, Maryland, rejected the suggestion, saying their son was impressionable due to being autistic. They have accused the staff of starting a full-on campaign to transgender the child and accused the staff of mentally pre-programming, say their son has been forced to write letters to friends disavowing his previous male identity. Jesus. Sounds like a little injection of Marxism. This now struggle sessions, anyone? Say, quote, according to the lawsuit, the hospital used its emergency policies to keep the boy in its units and reported to the parents at Child Protective Services. The boy was then moved into foster care and hasn't been back in the family home since. What follows has been a 2-year legal battle for the custody of the teen, who is now 19 and remains in foster care. The parents, who are in their 40s and African American, say their son was at risk due to the condition because he's vulnerable to social manipulation. Jeez. They have spoken exclusively to dailymail.com but to remain anonymous to protect their estranged son's privacy. The boy's father revealed they had to sell their thriving business and 4-bedroom home to cover legal costs. Father said this has been devastating, left it drained so much money. There is nothing left. It changed our entire life and the loss of our child and then the loss of our income. Karen Von Batten, a committee member for the DC Republican Party who is supporting the parents, said the case was personal to him because he also had an autistic son. They say, quote, Mr. Von Batten said, to me, this is personal. My son is autistic, and if you tell him that you're a penguin, he will tell you he's a penguin. I'm very upset by what they have done in this case, and this seems to be no safeguarding. I don't want this to happen to my boy or any other child with autism. The family is seeking up to $100 million in damages to cover over their legal cost. Now here, actually I have a picture of this. There's the family censored with their faces. There you can see the children's hospital. And here, I say, quote, picture above this, hospital chaplain Lavender Kelly, who is believed to be currently caring for the child. The individual says online that they do not have a gender. And in this hospital, they have, of course, which one is it? It's not the progress flag. Can't speak today. But if you click that subscribe button, it may very help in speaking ineptitudes. I have a goal of going through an entire episode with a perfectly speaking articulation. However, I need a little bit of assistance. When I first started the show, no subscribers, stumbled over my words a lot, spoke mostly monotone, even faster than I do today. However, the more subscribers I gain, the better I've been at speaking, which leads to my theory. The more people that click that button, the better I'll be able to speak. And someday, go through a whole episode speaking perfectly. A tall order, some might say, but a goal nevertheless. So if you click that button and tell your friends, really appreciate it. Now going back to me attempting to say the word flag, well, it is not the progress flag, but rather this flag has the yellow triangle and now a purple circle on it. And of course, in this hospital, there are also many other pride flags in there as well. Fascinatingly enough, there's never an American flag in these hospitals or schools these days. Now they say, quote, the lawsuit says the child is currently living in the hospital's non-gendered chaplain. Lavender Kelly, who posts online about trans issues. In one Facebook post from 2022, Kelly said they supported transitioning children without their parents' consent, saying that they were drained from arguing with families. Of course, this person in this picture also has a pride shirt on. I'm not, and they're morbidly obese and mostly androgynous in terms of you can't tell it's male or female, but I partially digress. Yeah. I'm not saying they should be sent to the gulag necessarily, these people, but they should certainly be sent to court when they're wanting to completely change a child without parents' knowledge or consent. I'm very shocked there's not more cultural outrage around this issue, and there's not more news. I mean, this isn't being run on all the news networks. Jeez Louise. Now they say the suit adds that since being removed from the care of the parents, the youngster has appeared to be proactively and sexually suggested posts on Instagram. It's unclear whether the 19-year-old has received any sex change treatments like feminizing hormones or gender reassignment surgery. The lawsuit was filed in the Maryland Court District, accusing the Children's National Hospital of 8 counts, including negligence, inflicting intentional emotional distress, and discriminating against someone based on their religion. It has been sealed by the judge, but now in the Fifth Circuit of the U.S. Court of Appeals. In a statement, the hospital told the Daily Mail that the case has been withdrawn by the parents' lawyers. Representatives for the parents' lawyers denied this. Children's National is ranked 5th best pediatric hospital in the country and treats around 223,000 patients per year, including those with gender dysphoria. Yeah. It also runs a gender and autism program, which helps young children with autism understand their gender. Amos Jones, who is representing the family, previously said this is the craziest case I've ever seen. I don't know why there are people who think this makes sense, but I guess there's a lot of people who agree with Washington, D.C. now. Well, it's also a big lucrative thing for hospitals to do, because once you start these procedures, it never ends. And it's a whole lifetime of procedures, therapies, and drugs. And of course, there you have this Miss Kelly again, pictured above, worked at the hospital in Washington, D.C. for decades. Looks exactly how do you think. They say that the family said their eldest son had been hardworking and initially homeschooled before being sent to high school at age 14. He graduated a year later and was accepted an associate's degree in engineering program. He texted his friends in May 2021 saying that he was LGBT but used masculine pronouns and at no point indicated he wanted to become female. Around this time, he also undergo tests for autism and attending a counseling service for disabled children. He was willingly rushed to Children's National Hospital early 2021 after attempted suicide, following the end of the relationship with his girlfriend. But after the hospital determined he had gender dysphoria, he's held there for 41 days. That's insanity. I forget the exact legal vernacular, but there is a mechanism in which if someone is going through something that is mentally detrimental or a very hard use case, or they attempt to take their own life, there are many instances where the police will take you to a hospital. I forget the whole hour duration, but I believe at most it's a couple days. It's not 41 days? Imagine how scared and irate the parents would be. Or are. Like, wow. Now they say in July 2022, the boy attempted to take his own life again and readmitted to the Children's Nation as a girl this time. Which, I'm not saying you shouldn't go to the same hospital twice when they failed, but alright. And the parents are still requesting a trial by jury. And still there's no... Geez, heartbreaking. There's still no knowledge. There's a lot of speculation, but no one really knows how this is going to play out, is what I'm attempting to say here. And yeah, and thankfully there's some art. Oh, like of course most of the comments are on X Twitter. There are some comments on here as well. I'll read a couple here. Well, the first one comes from Iano from the good old state, or some might argue the good old country of Texas. It says, quote, "How is this even up for debate? Children do not understand the consequences. Brains do not fully mature until much later. It's fine if they want to be a rock star, a veterinarian, or mechanic, or a girl, but they'll probably change their mind next month, so don't make any permanent changes. You can also support them by making you can support them without making life-altering changes." Got 928 up votes and 5 down votes. No free lunches. Interesting name. They say they're somewhere in California. It says, "I hope they win their lawsuit. It's not right. It's not the right of anyone to take possession of a child just because the parents don't idealistically align on their views. Unless there are clear signs of abuse, then the child belongs with then the child belongs with their parents until they're old enough to make decisions about themselves. Legally, this is 18. I don't know how much autism in the range is and how it will affect the outcome. I pray for his parents." Got 1.2 thousand upvotes and 9 downvotes. Jeez. Common Sense Engineer says, quote, "This is a frightening story. How can people suspend parents' rights without due process? This is an overstep by the government and the hospital to hijack a vulnerable person for the person's own agenda." Got 795 upvotes and 3 downvotes. And it's horrifying. I mean, even when I was in college, there was someone who he's a very nice guy. He's very polite to everyone. He never caused any trouble. And he's very energetic. He's a happy individual. And then all of a sudden, again, he was mentally, he had some mental issues. And he had a mental detriment to him. And one day, he just showed up and they transitioned him. And it was horrifying. I asked people, and they said, "Oh, this is what he, yeah, it was what he wants." Like, this is someone who could barely hold a conversation. And I was horrified. I was so shocked. Again, he was a very nice individual, but they didn't understand. Yet that was in the Midwest, mind you. That still it even happened there, and I guess I shouldn't be too surprised that we're seeing this and it's increasing in frequency. Now, going to the good old X Twitter, went viral thanks to lives of TikTok. Oh, here. Oh, apologies for that there. There we go. Oh.
Health meeting have approved.
Oh, let's see here. Oh, where did that go? Apologies for that. Go to Lives of TikTok main page. There we go. Good old technical issues. Though I can never be too upset because if IT worked perfectly all the time, I wouldn't have a job. Now, this comes to Lives of TikTok. She says, quote, everyone responsible for this needs to be locked up in prison. And it got, not as much as I thought. It got about 100,000 views and 4,000 likes. The first comment list comes from Gunther Eagleman, who says, quote, this is exactly what's wrong in America, getting 232 likes. AKA says this is insane, it's becoming normalized, getting 49 likes. Planet of Memes, though did not respond in meme form, says, quote, it's disgusting to see the state do this to special needs child, getting 54 likes. Paul Zupa says, move out of these cities, they can't be safe, getting 38 likes. There's a good old quote from Elon. Anti-left memes says, I agree with Elon. Especially Elon says, quote, any parent or doctor who sterilizes a child before they are a consenting adult should go to prison for life. Fact check true. Getting 22, let's make it, or 21, makes it 22 likes. Matt says the woke mind virus needs to die, getting 19 likes. Right Away Press says life in prison sounds appropriate, getting 24 likes. So, again, this is people who follow the TikTok, so on average, they're going to agree with her a little more than usual. There's not a lot of contrarian statements. Let's see here. King of Poll says, is America a good place to raise a kid in? Oh, that's a hard question. Texas is. Say, wow, 56% said no. Granted, a sample size of 30 votes. Not too many contrarian statements there. It's, I mean, pretty heartbreaking and horrifying. I still can't believe this stuff is going on in the United States. I don't know what's going to happen. Culturally speaking, there's not much things that really reunite the United States these days, it seems. I mean, realistically, the only reason we all stick together is because it's business. I mean, pretty much every business is interstate, and many of them do business globally as well. But let me know in the comments if you think, culturally speaking, how many things do all 50 states still have in common? I mean, there used to be a lot more patriotism back in the day. I mean, everyone used to salute the flag, say the Pledge of Allegiance, and let me know in the comments. Maybe I'm just a little pessimistic today, but I don't think there's much, culturally speaking, we share in terms of core morals and values. This being one of the biggest juxtapositions of beliefs, as this has become a political issue with people on the right or the middle, libertarians saying, or libertarians say do whatever you want, but most people, that's the political side of it. I would say, hey, not do whatever you want once you're a full-grown adult, leave the kids alone. And people who are leftists, again, not all Democrats are calling for this, but a lot of them saying, oh yeah, it's healthcare, which we've heard that rudimentary argument before. But let me know in the comments, are you surprised by this? Do you think things will change and this will be completely outlawed? Let me know in the comments. As always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the political part of the podcast, you have RFK Jr. walking out to a Trump rally and trying to appoint him as the head to study the increase in chronic health issues. Now, this comes to us thanks to RFK Jr.'s ex-Twitter profile, which he says, make America healthy again, which that's a damn good campaign slogan. Where was this 6 months ago? But nevertheless, it's about 2 minutes and 51 seconds. But their voices are infinitely better than mine. So you have Trump kicking it off here at a rally earlier.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. I want to salute Bobby's decades of work as an advocate for the health of our families and our children. Nobody's done more. Millions and millions of Americans who want clean air, clean water, and a healthy nation have concerns about toxins in our environment and pesticides in our food. That's why today I'm repeating my pledge to establish a panel of top experts working with Bobby to investigate what is causing the decades-long increase in chronic health problems and childhood diseases, including autoimmune disorders, autism, obesity, infertility, and many more. Thank you, President Trump.
Nice.
A few hours after the assassination attempt at Butler, I got a call from a safe food advocate named Kelly Means, who's been fighting for many years to try to end the corruption at CDC and FDA and USDA. And these institutions, these regulatory agencies, are actually run by the big food processing companies, the big ag and the chemical companies that they're supposed to regulate. And he said to me that he'd been advising me for many years and on my campaign. And he told me that night that he was also advising President Trump. And he asked if I would talk to President Trump. And I said, of course. And about a few minutes later, I got a call from the president. And we talked. We had a very good talk. Don't you want a safe environment for your children? Don't you want to know that the food that you're feeding them is not filled with chemicals that are going to give them cancer and chronic disease? And don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again? Thank you all very, very much, and God bless you, and God bless America.
And it says on screen, make America healthy again, hashtag unity ticket, hashtag America strong. Which, I mean, it is fascinating that health has become a controversial thing, at least politically as well. And yeah, Robert RFK Jr., he reached out to Kamala Harris too. Of course, she didn't pick up the phone, or she chose not to meet with him. Perhaps because so many of their ideals are the antithesis of each other, just wouldn't really mix. And this went pretty well. Got 1.9 million views as well as 147,000 likes. The first comments coming from America Papa Bear saying, "We're all excited to have you on board, Bobby. This is a real opportunity." Getting 106 likes. Scrolling down, you have, let's see here. Rick Suit says, "I was there last night and I woke up this morning knowing it was a new day in America."
He's a very low-key person, but he's highly respected. He is a great person. I've known him for so long. For the past 16 months, Robert F. Kennedy.
And listening on YouTube, they might have censored that song. But if you're listening on the best streaming platform, go to rumble.com, the Topping Show. You'll hear this, as well as other things that YouTube just decides to randomly delete, like certain hot topics. Things that RFK Jr. might be investigating in the future. Other top comments comes from Stiff Martini, says, "Make America great, healthy, and efficient again." His picture of Trump, AI, but his picture of Trump, Elon, as well as RFK Jr. getting 1.9 thousand likes. Marjorie Taylor Greene press release parody account says, "Make America healthy again. I strongly support this. Let's go." Getting 1.1 thousand likes. It's kind of funny now I think about it. I've been covering the X Twitter for about a year. I've never seen the actual real Marjorie Taylor Greene press release actually respond to anything. Right, I just don't see it. Kind of funny. But Dries Mears says Trump and RFK can save our country, gave 860 likes. Jerry Moraes says make elections fair again. Says when a Democrat tells you the election is rigged, believe them. And that was what RFK Jr. was calling out earlier this week, getting 900 likes. Trump Army says there's only one candidate that can make America great and healthier again. This picture of Trump riding a line, obviously AI generated. Says make America great again, getting 300 likes. John says RFK will make America strong and healthy again. It's an interesting campaign. It'll remind me of the sports ball analogy. That's an interesting move there. I don't know. That's a bold move there, Cotton. But they have RFK Jr. shirtless doing some bench press, incline bench press, getting 317 likes. See here. Scrolling down more and more. The Dutch Doge guy says we have to love our children more than we hate each other. Good quote, I guess. So it looks like that was a quote from RFK Jr. getting 856 likes. And yeah, there's been an increase in a lot of things in the United States when it comes to, health-wise. Be interesting to see at the end of the day what investigation would find. And there are a lot of things in terms of ingredients that are approved in the U.S. but not in other nations. Maybe we just need an extra study to see, what's really going on. Last AI generated image is pretty good. Jeremy Moran says, "Make America healthy." Saying again, it's a picture of Trump as George Washington era, and it says 1776 flag behind him. It says, "Make America great again." Getting 40 likes. Pretty enthusiastic room. They're all pretty. Everyone's pumped up. Again, a lot of the third party, a lot of the polls are saying about a little more than half of the people who were supporting RFK Jr. are going to go to Trump. About 24% are going to go to Kamala. Then the rest are just going to go, who knows, undecided again or something like that. So it'll be interesting to see, what at the end of that translation is. But let me know how much it'll really affect it. And then, do you think the messaging of "Make America Healthy Again," do you think that'd be something that a lot of people in the middle, that maybe a lot of people who still feel politically alienated would appreciate that messaging? They might be inspired more to vote for Trump because of it. Let me know in the comments. As always, it'd be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Other interesting political news, you have Trump to release all JFK assassination files while standing next to RFK Jr., which pretty legendary. Now this comes with thanks to good old Matt Wallace on the X Twitter. As well, Trump just announced he's going to release all the JFK assassination files while Robert F. Kennedy Jr. was standing behind him. There you can see them shaking hands at the podium, getting 5.5 million views and 86,000 likes. Which, that'd be great if we could actually have access to all of that data. Fascinatingly enough, every couple of decades, they'll release more documents. They were supposed to release all of them a couple of years, was it 2 years ago? And Biden blocked a bunch of the files from being released to the public. Which begs the question, what are they still hiding? Because again, it's been so long, most people who had anything to do with a lot of people are speculating that it's been such a long period of time after the assassination that most people who are directly involved have died out by now. Which a lot of people speculate, does that just mean they're trying to cover the data to worry about brand integrity of the CIA or something like that? There's a lot of speculation. There's very few people who think, let me know in the comments. I would say more than half the people, when it comes to theories about how our JFK was assassinated, I'd say more than half probably think the government did it. So let me know in the comments if you think contrary to that. Now, going to the comments here, you see one of the first comments comes from Mr. Bigglesworth Memes saying RFK was fired up. This picture of RFK speaking says, "Silenced by the government, silenced by Democrats. Trump should make RFK Jr. the anti-censorship czar." Getting 81 likes. See here? Scrolling down. Moments that made your day says this 28-second clip of RFK Jr. discussing why he's supporting and working with Trump has more policy than the entire 2 weeks of DNC speeches. Or entire week of DNC speeches.
We're aligned with each other.
It's a low bar, but...
We're aligned with each other on other key issues, like ending the forever wars, ending the childhood disease epidemics, securing the border, protecting freedom of speech, unraveling the corporate capture of our regulatory agencies, getting the U.S. intelligence agencies out of the business of propagandizing and censoring and surveilling Americans, and interfering with our elections.
I got 3.5 thousand likes. Scrolling down more and more. Yeah, Sherry says this is huge. And RFK Jr. deserves to know. Getting 1.8 thousand likes. Yeah, Moments That Made Your Day says Kamala's first major policy was plagiarized directly from Trump, which, yeah, Trump thought, oh yeah, be a good idea. You should not have to pay taxes on tips. Then, what was it? A month later, Kamala says, oh yeah, you shouldn't do that either. Scrolling down more and more. Here, any contrarian statements here? Mr. Nobody looks like an interview where RFK Jr. talking about how BlackRock's portfolio of all major food companies is poisoning us allegedly, getting 227 likes. Crazy Moment says this man, the only man that can save America. And this picture of Trump after he was the attempted assassination attempt. It says impeached, arrest, convicted, shot, still standing, getting 302 likes. There's any contrarian comments here. Crazy Moments also says, repost this if you feel the same Tulsi. And it's a picture of Tulsi Gabbard, and it's a quote that says, if President Biden and Kamala Harris are allowed to stay in power, we'll see the end of freedom in America, and quote, getting 372 likes. So yeah, it looks like, again, it looks, hopefully he stays pretty active in the Trump campaign in terms of RFK Jr.'s participation. I'd love to see him start to outline some ideals. Hopefully he'll start to go on some podcasts talking about, how you'd go about executing some of these plans. But yeah, in terms of a little more transparency about especially that day of JFK assassination, yeah, more data the better. Will we ever get to the bottom of the story? Well, let me know in the comments, because as always, be fascinated to hear what you have to say. Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Shein suppliers busted for using child labor. Now, this comes with thanks to BBC, which is fascinatingly enough somehow still in business. And this looks, apologies. It's from Jose De Silva, who's a writer over there. Say, quote, Shein reveals child labor cases in suppliers. There you see the Shein logo with, I don't want to say it's a rudimentary logo that you can just go to Hobby Lobby and rip off by taking some of those novelty letters out of the craft aisle, but, oh no, I guess I am. Yeah, you definitely could. Now, they say, quote, Chinese fashion giant Shein says it found 2 cases of child labor in its supply chain last year as it tightened scrutiny of companies that make clothes it sells. The firm says it temporarily suspended orders from suppliers involved and did not resume business with them until they stepped up efforts to tackle the issue. The revelation in Shein's 2023 sustainability report comes as it is understood to be planning to sell shares of the stock on the stock market. The company has been criticized for conditions faced by workers in its factories and its supply chain. Shein says, quote, both cases are resolved swiftly with recommendation steps including terminating contracts with underage employees, ensuring the payment of any outstanding wages, arranging medical checkups, and facilitating respirations to parent legal guardians as needed. Following appropriate business recommendation, the contract manufacturers were permitted to resume business. Quote, Shein also says has now tightened its supplier policies under new rules. Any child labor or forced labor violations will be grounds of immediate termination of contracts. The firm says that 2 cases were uncovered during the 9 months of 2023, and none were found in the last quarter of the year. This company lays the groundwork for potential sale of shares in the stock market. But that could be an issue with them. And it's one of the dark secrets of fashion, or dark issues of fashion, is a lot of low-end labor, a lot of child labor, in order to make those clothes hit those price points where people actually, maybe could afford the products that they're selling. And essentially, with Shein, they compete on a price point. It's a thing where that and Temu, half the attraction of people go to the platform is because it is cheap clothing. So I can't help with, and again, once they start the bigger company gets, especially more publicly traded, that's where more scrutiny comes in. So it was good that they were able to shut this down, or shut these instances down. But yep, having an issue where a lot of people already have issues in the industry, and there's already a lot of eyeballs on Shein, and they're going to get more and more scrutinized with more competition as well. Gotta say, having the child labor instances, Shein, that is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you can click that button, I greatly appreciate it. Also, give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, or a comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.